Hi guys, welcome to our channel. It's Kian. I'm a young Iranian born and bred in the UK. With everything that's happening in Iran, we've decided to create a platform where we can speak to different Iranian groups. Let's go.
We are gathered here today in front of the embassy of Islamic regime Department of Iran to protest the cruel and ongoing deportation, humiliation, and repression of Afghan migrants in Iran.
Stop victimizing Afghan refugees in Iran!
Stop victimizing Afghan refugees in Iran!
No racism against Afghans!
No racism against Afghan!
not Afghanistan refugees!
Not Afghan refugees!
So could you please introduce yourself and let us know what organization you're a part of?
Good afternoon. My name is Mostafa Saber, known as Samet, aka, and I'm a member of Stop Execution in Iran London branch. And we are here today in order to demonstrate against the deportation of Afghan refugees and migrants in Iran.
What is Zandagi Azadi? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Women Life Freedom is a movement that created after the horrible murders of Jina Mahsa Amini, a young Kurdish girl who was arrested and then killed in detention by the Iranian authorities. After that movement, first the so-called Jina movement or so-called Women Life Freedom movement start from Saqqez, one of the cities in Kurdistan in Iran, and then spread over 150 different cities and towns across the country for people to stand for their right, for equality, for gender's right, and against the suppression of the Iranian government.
So now there is a theocratic government in Iran. What government specifically would you look at? Would it be similar to like a Western model, like what is in the United Kingdom or in a lot of European countries? Or how would that government actually look?
We got a lot of different experience across the globe in the past so-called 200 years since the existence of capitalism. We have had many different form and shape of capitalism across the globe. The form that we got in United Kingdom or let's say Europe or United States are not something that you can simply cut and paste to other countries. We have seen so-called democratization of Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein end up in that disastrous situation where Iraqi people doesn't have basic rights. We don't want that to happen. We don't want any country, we don't want anyone to come and teach us how to govern ourselves, how to form and shape the way we want to be governed, the way we want to take on our own faith. What is important for us is for people to have an absolute right to choose how they want to be governed, who they want to choose as their governor, and how they want to shape their future. That is the most fundamental way of doing it. Of course, we have different models. I have my own models of governance for the government, but what's important is not about what I think, it is about what majority, large number of working people in Iran, women, youth, those people who are desperate for a better life, they think what they think and what they want to do about their future. The only thing we can do is to enable them, to empower them, to stand on their feet, to fight to their right and achieve those goals.
Is there not a way that your group and other groups that are opposed to the current government in Iran can unite and work together? Say, for example, people that are pro-Shah or people that are anti-Shah or even people that are pro-Islam and pro how the current government is being run. Is there not a way for you guys to work together in a way to bring about an Iran where you are free to vote for the idea that you believe in?
Having any Iranian people, Iranian citizen, the right to vote and use their right is an absolute principle for us. We support that one, whoever they are. We would never ever go after people to see who do you believe in and who your goals are in order to have the right to vote. No, every Iranian citizen will have the right. Some people say or believe the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That is false. The enemy of my enemy are not necessarily my friends. We would never count on that one because we had that experience of when the Islamic regime of Iran claimed to be the anti-imperialist and a group of leftists in Iran in 1979 following that tragic position and make a huge mistake. We have learned that lesson, and therefore whoever claim to be anti-government, first they have to prove what they stand for. Are they stand for people's democratic right? Are they stand for workers' right? Are they stand for different nationalities, existence of nationalities, Iran's right? In that sense, if people are coming forward and say, yes, this is our platform, this is what you want, we will be more than happy and eager to listen and to learn from them. And then we see if we can work together.
There have been some reports on Al Jazeera News that following the attacks by Israel, there is a new national unity between the Iranian government and the Iranian people. What do you say to that?
No. There is no such thing. I think this is false. Of course, the Iranian government is trying hard, the hardest actually, in order to demonstrate they are well united, in order to demonstrate they are nationalists. Right from beginning, one of the major slogans that Khomeini said right from beginning was down with nationalism. We are not nationalists. And they are right, they are not nationalists. The Iranian government cannot be nationalist. They are Islamists. They are pan-Islamists. They are fighting for the expansion of the so-called Islamic revolution. And that's why they have been supporting and putting resources into Hamas, into Hezbollah, into Yemen, into Jaish al-Shab in Iraq. That's what they have been doing. And they will do the same if they have the opportunity. Right now, because they have been pushed back, because they have lost their strategy in Middle East, in Israel, in Lebanon, Israel said, in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Syria in particular. And remember, the Iranian government had always said, if we don't fight in Damascus, we have to fight in Tehran. They lost Damascus, they have to fight in Tehran. And therefore, any such nationalistic claim by the Iranian government is false. They cannot play that role, they cannot play that slogan, because Iranian people are more aware than ever, and they know the government, they know their tricks, they know what they do in order to continue their suppressive government. And that's why I think there is a massive division inside the Iranian government. If you read what they do, for instance, with regard to the strategy, whether they go with China and Russia or whether they turn to the United States, there is a large group of so-called reformists inside the government or in a position of the government. They are trying to push the government to get on with current negotiation with United States to come to sense and to agreement with West, and also put their back on Russia and China. And you got other hardliners, so-called, in Iranian government who stand firm and say, no, we do not trust West, we do not trust United States, and we have to continue with the way we have continued with China and Russia in the past 25, 30 years.
Thank you. I guess my last question for you is, what is the route to change in Iran? Is it some sort of military intervention? Is it, do groups like yourself need more financial support? Where would you get that financial support? Would it be from Western countries? Would it be external intervention? How do you see change coming about in Iran?
We will bring changes. Iranian people will bring changes in Iran. The Iranian people has the bone, as I said earlier in the response to another question, has the conscious and also the knowledge and experience of 45 years fighting against the current government, and also bringing down the monarchs in 1979. And they got that experience, and they will be more than able in order to bring down the government. The one problem we got with the West is, wherever the Iranian people have stood up, even at the height of the women life freedoms resistance, the United States was having every single week meeting Iranian government in Doha. And that is a fact. That is not what we said. That is the fact that the West and the Iranian government has always been working hand in hand and never crossed each other's line in that sense. So Iranian people are on their own. The only thing we want from the West, from all those people who stand in solidarity with workers, with women for freedom, for equal right, against execution, and all those sorts of things that happen in Iran right now, to support them, to ask the member of parliament, their parliaments, the organization that defend human rights, that defend, for instance, asylum rights, that defend workers' rights like ILO, in order to expel the Iranian government from those organizations, in order to pressurize the Iranian government from those organizations, because Iranian government are the signature of so many of these so-called human rights or workers' rights organizations, which they never ever comply with the requirement, with term of condition they have signed up with. And therefore, we are supporting the Iranian working class. We are supporting the women liberation movement in Iran and other youth movement, student movement to form their own organization. The one big problem we got in Iran is the lack of independent organization, whether it's women organization, whether it's working class organization, youth organization, student organization. The Iranian government has cracked down this kind of attempt to set up this independent organization for the past 45 years. And that is where we are right now. We are, I strongly believe the Iranian people are at the age of, at a point where they form national organization, independent organization, especially working class organization, and that is where the Iranian government, whether they need to listen, which they wouldn't listen, or whether they will be facing a huge resistance from a majority of Iranian people, and they have to go. If they don't go, I think a big national strike from the labor, from the oil, gas, electric, and other industries, which will bring down the government. And of course, the Iranian government, we need to remember, in the past 45 years, the Iranian government has slaughtered tens of thousands of Iranian people. This government is not going to go just like this. It is not an easy government to say, oh, this is Ashraf Ghani government. West is going to ask them to go. They will step down and Taliban come. That's not like this. It is going to be bloodshed. I hope that is not the case, but we are ready to take it down on them, and we are ready to bring it down with ourselves, with our resources, without getting military support from West. We don't need military support from West.
Cool. To follow up with that, so obviously right now they have a full control on everything. Like they have a massive military, they have a massive police force. So realistically, how any sort of physical altercation, it seems like, would be bad for Iranians and Iranian citizens. So like, realistically, how would you be able to oppose that?
We have had that experience of resistance. Look at South Africa during the apartheid. The apartheid regime of South Africa, more or less, they had the same mentality about suppressing their own people, black people actually. We had a similar situation in fascists in Spain. We had a similar situation in Germany during the Nazis' time, and in other circumstances. I think it is hard. I think it is extremely difficult and expensive. Nevertheless, is not undoable. I think the Iranian working class, the Iranian labor movement, the Iranian women movement, and the students know this. They know they don't have anyone a part of their own unity in order to pave the way to emancipation, in order to pave the way to bring the government down and set up their own institutions. I think what is happening, I think you are right. I think it is pretty difficult and hard to imagine the current government step back and let people to come forward. I think you are right. Well, I think if we believe that such government is never going to do that, we should be believing that this is the end of history. There is no end of history. We will make the history. Iranian people will make the history, bring down the government, and put their own wishes and demands in place of power.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Unfortunately, we didn't get enough time to speak to anybody else outside the Iranian embassy. We've reached out to another representative who's based in Vancouver. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Mostafa Saber. That's my political name. But at work, they call me Mo Qureshi. That's a long story by itself. Currently, I am teaching life drawing, figure drawing, classical figure drawing to animation students in Vancouver, at the university. I've been politically active as well since I remember, since I was 18 years old. I've done whatever you can think of in the field of revolutionary politics. I've been a student activist, labor activist for many years. I've been also involved in armed struggle against Islamic Republic in Iran. I've been in Kurdistan. I lived in the mountain for 7 years. Though I was a journalist, I was producing radio program. Also, outside of Iran, I lived in Sweden, in Canada, and currently I'm involved in building a kind of grassroots organization against executions in Iran
Mhm.
that is active all over the place. I mean, all major cities in the world, from Australia to Canada, United States, Europe.
Viewers might have seen in the previous video that we spoke to people that were pro-Shah and royalist, and we also spoke to a group called Zan Zendegi Azadi, which you mentioned there. I would be interested to understand more about your personal and your organization's stance on Iranian politics and what you want to see essentially happen in Iran.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the side of Zan Zendegi Azadi, woman, life, freedom, revolution, and all I am doing and people that I work with are doing. We are trying to carry the slogan or the flag of woman, life, freedom, and we think the only real alternative for Iran political and social situation is the victorious woman, life, freedom movement or revolution, whatever you want to call it. It's not a revolution right now happening in Iran, but we had a revolution. People tried to get rid of the Islamic regime and they killed. And I mean, the regime answered by killing, shooting into the eyes of the people, and a lot of atrocities and executions and prisons, political prison. To stop that revolution, but it is there. We can feel it, we can see it. Just for example, just for your viewers, if they don't know it, just before this 12 days war, there was a big national strike of the truck drivers for days in 150, more than 150 cities, different cities, and it was huge and it was very impactful. But they couldn't succeed in their demands, and sort of died down. But it's there. The teachers, the workers, women movements, and students, and so on. These are base for woman life freedom movement, and I also belong to this movement.
Mhm.
There are many
In
varieties, but
yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure, yeah. And as I've personally grown to learn, there's many varieties. There's many different groups with different names. Um, with this Zanzendi Yazadi, so that's kind of, as you said, it's a phrase. It's a kind of a motto, maybe similar, akin to world peace or something along those lines. However, some may fail to see what practically what kind of government that means for
right,
Iran. So, for example, when you speak to eh, proponents of the Islamic regime, they have a clear structure and a clear identity of how the country should be governed.
yeah,
You speak to people that support the Shah, they say we're going to be a monarchy with some form of government similar to the United Kingdom or other European countries with old monarchies. With Zanzibar and the Yazidi, what is that governmental structure
yeah.
that you guys
Very
are?
good question. Yeah, yeah. I think what I believe, I think it should be the best form of government for Zan Zendegi Azadi for this revolution is what is called in politics direct democracy.
Mhm.
What it means that people all over the place, all over the country, all provinces, all factories, all universities, every neighborhood, whatever is matter should be in the hand of people directly
Mhm.
through direct democracy, which means they select their own organizations. You could call it council, whatever name you want to call it,
Mhm.
that's makes no difference. But people
Mhm.
in charge directly,
Mhm.
going even beyond the parliamentary democracy that you select the parliament for 4, 5, 6, whatever years, and then you have no influence, or you cannot do anything. You sort of what is called representative democracy, right? Even representative democracy is not suited very well for Iranian society. I think direct democracy is very good for Iranian society, and they have experience about this. They have the background, for example, in 1979 revolution that no one talks about it, and you don't see it on the news. Even you don't see it on sort of credible history account of this. But I was a labor activist then, and I tell you, almost every fabric, every factory, there was a council of the workers, and that was the sort of evolvement of strike committee against Shah.
Mhm.
But when Shah was overthrown and gone, then these strike committees turned to factory councils, worker councils, and they want to rule. They want to have control over what's happening in their fabric in the factories. And this was so widespread, so big. Again, I've been one of the activists of them. For example, in Isfahan, I was active among Zobahan. It's a big factory with 12,000 making steel, and they had these councils, and we were involved how organize this council in such vast institution, 12,000 workers working in different sections. I want to say I'm not claiming anything. This is my own life. I've
Yeah.
seen, I know people who are doing this, but no one's talking about it. Anyways, to make it short, I want to say in 1979 revolution,
Mhm.
the councils and the direct democracy was something obvious for people. They
Mhm.
were not talking about parliamentary representative democracy.
Mhm.
They were talking about this. I mean, there is this background. For example, there is a slogan in Farsi. I said you can translate it. همه اداره شورایی. They say councils rule, or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, this is a well-known slogan. Even now, as we speak, it's not just the background of in '79 revolution. It's current. It's a lot of people are talking about that. Then I think my answer, one word, direct democracy is the answer to your question.
What is the current economic situation in Iran?
Iran's economy is collapsing. You can say even its collapse is sort of something in the air. It's not. It's very strange how it survives. Probably the only thing that they can rely on is the uh, oil. expert, which, again, despite all the sanctions that the United States had, other countries have imposed on this, but they can sell some oil, and that's the main source of income for the government and for the economy also. Iran is a huge country. It's 90 million people. Then there is some dynamism inside Iran, but when it comes to the global economy, it's kind of isolated from global economy. And when you look at the livelihood and people's life, you can see that it's getting worse and worse and worse. There is the inflation more than 40%, 50% happening right now, and the whole infrastructures are collapsing. There are lots of blackouts. There is no water. There is no clean air. These are all different kind of problems in Iran. Uh, Basically, it's surprising how still people can live and survive in Iran. It's very, very, very difficult, and this is the part of the movement against the government, because people are not getting involved in politics because of, I don't know, Karl Marx or other thinkers or ideologies, or because of the king or that king, or people get involved in politics because of their direct needs, and the Iranians are very, very unhappy with the economical situation, and they want the government to stop all these nuclear deals and spending billions and billions of on the building atomic bomb, or threatening with atomic bomb, and all these missiles and so on. People want to have a good life, and they're very angry that Islamic Republic spends, again, billions of dollars to supporting Hezbollah and other Islamic terrorist organization in the region.
We delved a little bit into your political stance, and you mentioned about direct democracy. So generally, it's a leftist movement, but people that are a part of that are not necessarily communist or super far left.
No, no,
It might
no,
be from
no.
different
That's
parts
for sure.
of the
A
political.
lot of
Maybe
them,
conservative. Conservative.
yeah, a lot of them,
Doesn't.
not only they're not communists, but they don't like to be called that way. They consider themselves as social democrat. They could consider themselves anti-democrat, or Republican or pro-Republican, things like that. They have all kind of label to identify themselves.
And could you not potentially be pro Shah but be also Zan Zendegi Azadi? I mean, why is there
Yeah,
that division? Could your group not support, like could there not be some support for the Shah, some sort of uh unification between your.
in the global network against execution, we don't separate, or we don't put boundaries according to these lines. We say whoever is against executions in Iran can be in this group. Then we don't ask them, are you pro Pahlavi, pro Shah, pro royalist or not? Are you pro Mujahideen or not? Or are you pro-reformist, Islah Talab, or not? We don't ask those questions, and the whole idea is to go beyond this. Look, by the end of the day, we have to live together in Iran. Iranians are, some of them are royalists, pro-Shah, some of them are against it, some are Republican, some are communist, some are Mujahid, some are still belonging to Islamic or religious group. They're all kind of Iranian. We want to live together. We don't want to, we are against the fact that in the future one group comes to the power and take power and slaughter all other groups. Doesn't matter from left or from the right. That's very dangerous, and we are against it. And I think the whole Iranian population are against this. Then we want to live together. Then we have to learn how to uh, cooperate, and that doesn't mean that all these differences will vanish. No, there is a struggle. There is a very serious and heavy struggle. The point is, can we have this struggle without violence? Can we have this without killing each other? That's why we think abolishing of capital punishment is very important. That no one, not only stop all these executions that Islamic Republic is doing and is number one in the world. I mean, per capita, the execution in Iran is number one. Not only stopping that, but also preventing the future violation from any government, doesn't matter who is in charge. We want to stop that. Then in our organization, I mean the Global Network Against Execution, there is no boundaries.
Appreciate that. And do you believe that the Shah, if he were in some world to come into power, do you think he would give up the initial hold on power to let a democratic government be built without interference?
No, I don't think so. No, no. They are doing it right now, even before having any holding the power. They right now, as I said, it's you look at their actions on the street. They attack other fractions, and they chant مرگ بر مفسدین that I explained. Mullah Shafi Mujahid, they are already doing that, and they are very bad that way. And the point is that Reza Pahlavi is trying not to talk about it, but he doesn't draw the line between himself and his supporters. But the only answer for all these things that Iran can be a united country only if it's built by all different people who are living in Iran. And this also, to back to my point, the best answer to this is the direct democracy, that people directly take care of their destiny, and they are in charge everywhere. Then you won't have this problem either. Any other country, any other linear, they have to attack, for example, Kurdistan in order to bring them and keep them inside Iran. This is a huge issue that when people talk about, for example, yourself, when you talk about opposition, you only think of, for example, Zan Zendegi Azadi that you talk to in London, and myself and the royalists that you talked earlier. But this is not all. You should talk to Kurdish groups as well. You should talk to Baluchi group as well. You should talk to Azeri groups as well. These are different reality of Iran, and you should have answer to these questions as well.
Do you think that each of those people, if they're directing their own destiny and they want independence or their own identity, should they have their own country? Would Iran break up into 3 or 4 different countries? Is that something that you would support?
This is a serious question. I think the only way you can keep the whole Iran as the same country, as one country, is that all these different parts are involved in decision makings and in taking care of things and ruling. You cannot have a central government that is imposing some stuff that they're not involved or they're not in favor of. Only with the cooperation, only with voluntary unification, voluntary, united act of all people living in Iran. That's the only solution for this question. Any other solution will end to unknown consequences. I don't know. I personally think it's a right for Kurdish people to decide if they want to separate from Iran or stay with Iran. But the only way, and I think their interest is to stay with Iran at this point. But the only way to make that happen, that they also feel that, yeah, we are part of Iran. We are part of the government in Iran. State in government is not just their state, and we are out of it. And Kurdistan. I've lived in Kurdistan for 7 years. I've lived in mountains. I know the Kurdish people very well, and I know the Kurdish society very well. During all 45 years of Islamic Republic of Iran, Kurdistan was like a big military base. I mean, it was a kind of undeclared martial law against the Kurds. They're not with Islamic Republic at all, and they're always under whatever horrible stuff happening in all over Iran, twice as much is happening in Kurdistan. This is the reality, and then that's why they are very revolutionary, and that's why the slogan "Zan Zendegi Azadi" started from Kurdistan, and actually started in Kurdish, "Jen Jiyan Azadi," and then translated to "Zan Zendegi Azadi," and even a lot of people still say "Jen Jiyan Azadi" to show their solidarity with Kurdish people. This is another very important aspect of Zan Zendegi Azadi, which unites all the people in Iran and has the right answer to the question that we are talking about.
Thank you. Realistically, what are the steps needed to see real change in Iran? Is it some sort of outside uh, military, outside financial intervention? What are the practical steps for change to happen in Iran?
Yeah. I think any outside intervention has been a lot. All these, let's say, sanctions before that, and now there's military attack and all that. These are tricky stuff. I think the act of freeing Iran and reaching prosperity and well-being for Iran is up to Iranian people. They should do that. No intervention, no changes from above with the military action. These are not the right answer for Iranian people. Everything should be in the hand of, from my stand, everything should be in the hand of woman life freedom revolution. That's the future of Iran. That's the solution for Iran. That's the right thing for Iran. That woman life freedom revolution take over and become the government. The let's say the state of woman life freedom in Iran. This is the answer to Iranian question, and no intervention, no changes from above, no regime change being done by United States or Israel or any other outside forces is not good, and people are not looking forward to it. The fact is, whatever makes the regime weaker, people are happy. Let me be very frank with you. People were very happy, and I was happy when I saw a lot of the big commanders of Islamic Republic of Iran that they have committed many crimes against people of Iran. The people of Iran were happy when they were eliminated by Israel. This is the fact. This is what people will tell you in Iran. Yes, some people are talking about the against the war and kind of backing the government, but I don't think majority of people are with this tendency. People are so fed up with the Islamic regime of Iran, so sick of this government that whatever makes them weaker, whatever eliminates the leaders and the decision makers in this horrible government, people are happy and they cheer for that thing.
So,
That's the reality of Iran.
appreciate.
But at the same time, people are very careful. They don't want to destroy their country or their life. They wanna take their destiny in their hands,
Yeah.
and that's woman life freedom.
Yeah. And we just following on that question. So with um with other members of Zanzendigi Azadi that we spoke with as well, and just with the general conversation, we hear this perspective that so we don't want outside help. We don't want, there shouldn't be outside military intervention. This should happen within Iran. But from my understanding of the reality on the ground in Iran, there's one group that has all of the power, all of the resources, all of the money, all of the weapons, all of the information, control of the internet, pretty much every aspect of advantage that you could think of. And then you have the other group which has essentially none of this. How, in reality, how is that ever going to, how could they ever match or create some sort of change?
Yeah, one word is revolution. In my opinion, in my stance, there is only this, and we are. Some people are pro regime change. We are pro revolution, and no regime change, no intervention, military immersion from above and changing things. That's not good for Iran. But overthrowing the Islamic regime by revolution, Zan Zendegi Azadi, or women life freedom, and turning this revolution to the government, to the ruling power. And that's why in the beginning, I said direct democracy is the most suited form of governance for this movement.
Does that revolution mean more people, more young people going into the street, complaining,
Yeah,
saying they're unhappy, screaming Zanzendigi Azadi, but ultimately
yeah. But
or
that's not enough.
getting
That's
put
not
in
enough.
prison.
That's not enough. The woman life freedom revolution showed that that's not enough. Not only more young people going on the street, a lot of big gathering and big demonstrations, but also working class, getting more involved with the form of in the form of strikes, national strike, general strikes, and more intervention from people, from ordinary people, from poor people. We have, one of the problem with women life freedom revolution was that it didn't spread to the whole population. It was more young activists that came and did that. They were supported by vast majority of people, but it should be more. It should be wider and more spread than women life freedom. then and I think it will be because based on experience that we have seen in every step, people in Iran get more experience and they are developing and enhancing their revolution and their struggle to get rid of the Islamic regime of Iran. This is another long story. I don't get into the details, but I can show you from 20, 25 years ago different steps that they have taken, and in each step they have overcome one obstacle. And I think Women Life Freedom Revolution showed that they need to get people more involved, they need more organization, and they need to build their leadership. These are the problems that I think in the next step Iranian people will overcome, and I'm very optimistic. I have to be. This has been my life, and I'm working towards this end. I think Women Life Freedom will have its own leadership and its strong organization to defeat Islamic Republic of Iran, to overthrow this. And of course, in between, we should take advantage of any events that makes the Islamic regime weaker and makes the people stronger.
Thank you. Essentially, off the back of what you mentioned about there needs to be a wider spread of the revolution, workers need to strike. A lot of those workers are, as we spoke about previously, in a tough economy. It's already very hard for them. They have kids at home, they have families that they need to take care of. How can we expect them to go on strike, to put themselves in danger, to potentially put their family in danger, to risk getting imprisoned, risk getting even worse? How can we expect that from them? Is that realistic?
At the moment, they cannot do that, and at the moment they won't do it. I think realistically, they only can do that for a very short period of time because, as you said, uh, they have families, they need to be fed, and you cannot do that. And there is no fund this time. There is no unions in Iran. There is not the government never allowed them to organize and to have some savings for like a union does. There is not such thing, and it's very very difficult, and they can only do it in a short time. But for example, if workers in Iran are getting united, they don't need to go on strike for 2, 3 months. They can do one day, for example, one day strike to show the government that we are all united, we are all organized when we are ready to change things. If they can do that thing, it has nothing to do with their livelihood, and it's just one day of strike. This solidarity and showing this, it's going to have a tremendous political impact. It's going to be heard all over the world, and it's going to put pressure on the Islamic regime of Iran. The thing is that we need actions like that. We need more unity and showing this, and turning this unity to a political force. But I agree that at this point, for example, the general strike is not plausible. Or we have had some national strike, like the truck drivers that I was talking about, or like teachers, they have done it. We need more of that too. For example, the oil worker, I mean the oil industry, they are ready for that. We know that there are something happening. or the nurses, for example, they have had sort of kind of national strike in many different cities. These are the facts. Or we had some kind of general strike in Kurdistan, in Kurdish part, but that was mostly the small businesses and shops. They all closed down, and closing down the shops had happened in Tehran as well, in the bazaar. And these are the things that have happened already. Then when I say we need more power, more organization, I mean these, not again, the general strike could happen only in a short time, because even in better situation, it cannot go for a long time. General strike is always very short. But my point was that we need to make the woman life freedom movement stronger, more organization, more involvement, and more widespread. We need that. These are steps that we need, and forming or building a leadership kind of mechanism. We need that. Without that leadership, without widespread, without more organization, we still need a lot of more time. This is what we can do.
Okay.
Meanwhile, anything can happen.
Yeah.
As we speak, tomorrow there could be a coup d'etat in Iran, and things will change dramatically. I don't know about that.
Perfect. Appreciate your time, and really appreciate you going through all of those questions with me. I feel like it's been a very interesting conversation, and I've learned a lot. So appreciate your time.
I hope if for the future, if there is any more questions, or your audience want to have more, I mean, they have questions and they need answers, I'm open to it. I hope I could explain one specific point of view of Iranian opposition. I don't want to say everyone else will talk like me, but
Yeah.
I believe that the way that I explained it is the truth of the situation in Iran.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found the interview as interesting as I did. I'm hoping in a future episode we can get a person from either side to have a constructive debate. It's been your boy Kian. See you next time.